Church, today for our Fight for Faith, I thought it'd be very fitting for us to talk about Veterans Day. Maybe you woke up today, you're in the midst of your day and didn't know it was Veterans Day, especially during our pandemic. Things are just upside down. Things that we normally do, we wouldn't do. But today is Veterans Day. This is a day that honors all of those who have served in our country, whether it's wartime or peacetime. Those who have served, maybe who have passed on, as well as those who are currently serving. And though it's largely intended, though, to thank the living veterans for their sacrifices, but it includes everybody. The origins of this special day was to commemorate the end of World War I, which people still shake their heads. I would just imagine, if talking to the past generation, how did this ever happen? That it would become a war on a world stage, first time ever. But they would call it Armistice Day, this day that they signed a treaty with Germany to end the war. And it happens November 11th each year, as we know, right? Well, what's the significance of that day? I found it kind of interesting. Well, World War I ended at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Interesting. That's why it's on November 11th. I thought, well, maybe, it's to sell more Hallmark cards or to give us a day off in the middle of the week, but very significant to the timing of it in 1918. I think that's interesting. In 1954, it was renamed Veterans Day at the urging of some of the living vets. Maybe they felt like armistice is difficult to say, or just it wasn't as pointed. Now it's Veterans Day. This holiday in particular is distinguished from Memorial Day, and if you're like me, you kind of get them mixed up or conflate them. And here's what helps me remember it. Memorial Day is to honor all those who have served and have died, to where Veterans Day is kind of all-inclusive. Anyway, that helps me. In our town of Albany, Oregon, they commemorate this day with a huge celebration and a huge parade. In fact, when we were getting ready to come to Albany, we heard about this a few years ago when we moved here, that this was the biggest parade at this time, November 11th, on this side of the Mississippi. That's a pretty big deal for a little town in Oregon. And we heard that if you do not secure your spot in this parade route, you may as well forget it, because there's so many people that attend. And it took us a couple years to calendar it and focus on it and whatever, and then we went last year, and I'll tell you, it was so worth it. We planned it. We even, the night before, got our spots all secured and showed up early to make sure we dedicated our time to this, see what it was all about. And we were very happy we went. It's just like other parades. There's lots of groups and clubs that make their way down the street, and high school bands and junior high musical bands, so forth. But this one motorcycle group in particular is something that caught my eye. In the midst of the crowd, you have a lot of people wearing their uniforms or their hats that would signify that they were on a particular ship, or they served in a particular battle or a particular war. This one gentleman was wearing a hat from Vietnam, that he had served in Vietnam, and he was making his way down the parade route on a motorcycle. And as parades go, they start and stop. Well, in the midst of this, an individual from the crowd was trying to get the attention of the motorcycle group, and one guy in particular. This person pulled over his bike, and when they noticed each other, they ran to each other and embraced, and it was a special time full of hugs and tears. And that was just one thing that happened, but a lot of times in a lot of places around the crowd, people would stop and salute and handshake and hug and tear up. recognizing the importance of service. Folks, what could we do? Our parade has been canceled. What could we do during this time? I would suggest giving a note or make a video for someone that you know who served in the military. Let them know you're thinking about them, that you remember them. Thank them. Say you're grateful for their service. I guarantee you will make their day. Just a thought to consider during this special day of Veterans Day. Thanks, folks, for listening. We'll see you again real soon.